Morning, everybody. My name is Doug Pinter, and we're on Daily Energy. I got my buddy Steve Miner in-house from Stanley Steemer Construction.
Yep.
Good morning, bud.
Good morning.
What's going on today?
Just staying busy. You know, everybody's getting ready to go back to school, so phones are starting to ring. The moms and dads trying to get the houses cleaned up from the kids. And
Man, I'm doing a balloon launch when my kids get on that bus next week. I'm throwing a party at my house. The whole community's welcome. Let's get the kids back to school. And, you know, I do feel a little bit for the teachers, faculty out there. It's kind of that time of the year. Some of them are extremely upbeat to get the season going. Others are like, oh, man, summer flew by. So to all of our teachers out there, thanks for what you do. I'm excited to send my kids in to you. Let's talk a little bit. We got the PGA Championship happening less than 2.5 hours away from Peoria. Down in St. Louis, the course yesterday, Woodland blazed the trail at -6. We'll touch a little bit on that. The Bears got down 30-27. I was over at their training camp earlier this week and got to meet Trubisky, who went, 2 for 4 for a whopping 4 yards.
Big numbers.
Huge numbers. We got the NFL power rankings. We got the NCAA breakdown for the top 10. We got Cubs, we got the tour, and we got Steve from Stanley Steemer in-house. Steve, I know you are extremely busy with the Dunlap JFL.
Yep.
Kids getting ready to go back to school. I drove by a football field last night on the way home from playing golf, and I noticed a lot of kids out running, and I thought of you and my good friend Mark Hoagland and a bunch of the other coaches at Dunlap.
Yep.
How's the JFL program coming along?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, we're trying to break away and get those kids' legs moving. I think there was a lot of Fortnite going on this year.
Fortnite's where it's at.
So we're getting the muscles moving again, getting the hand-eye coordination working again, and some agility going. So, you know, kids this first week, they're wearing just the helmets and focusing on fundamentals. So
now with all the heat and the safety and everything that people are talking about, tackling and whatnot, I mean, we had a couple hot days here. How are you guys handling that with your program?
Well, I mean, first off, we've been preaching to the kids, hydrate, 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 and hydrate. And then we're giving a lot of breaks, you know, in between, allowing them that chance to, you know, hydrate some more.
Cool off.
Yep. And keep that body temperature down a little bit. So, you know, and then keeping a close eye on the kids.
Let's talk a little bit about your Dunlap JFL program. How are the groups coming together?
Oh, I think it's going to be another amazing year. Really, really excited. I've got 2 boys playing in it myself, so, you know, a little partial with the JV and the Pee Wee side of things, but at all levels, it looks like it's going to be a good year.
Solid. And let's talk a little bit about Dunlap High School. They were the runners-up, state champions last year. What's the program looking like for Dunlap High School football?
I think they're going to be another ranked team this year again. You know, they've got a lot of players that are returning. You know, it's going to be another exciting year.
You know who the QB for Dunlap will be this year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Burke again.
He's the lefty?
Yep. So, you know, he's coming back from being injured in the championship game. He's looking healthy. He played a lot of baseball over the summer, so he looks like he's in good shape and ready to go.
Went out and watched Dunlap go support that team. Last year, that lefty threw some passes off his back foot that were extremely impressive, and I'm talking 35 on the dime to his receivers. So that should be exciting. What about the running game for the Eagles this year? What have we got in the backfield?
I don't remember the running back's name, but I mean, he's looking really good. That line, you know, they're looking stout again this year, being able to open up those holes and give them a good lane to hit and hold.
If you guys are looking for something to do here shortly on Friday nights, you can get out and check out your local high school football team. I would highly recommend going to scope out the Dunlap Eagles. I love the energy in the stadium every single time I go in there. I kind of get goosebumps. Takes me back to the high school days.
Everybody breaking out the cowbells.
Yeah, you know, my high school program, the Spring Valley Hall Red Devils, we did win state. I think it was 95, runner-up 96. I say we. I was on the sideline cheering. I was a golfer, but we just pounded the ball right up the middle. The thing I like about Dunlap is they got that arm in the QB as well as that run option game that really keeps defenses on their heels.
Yeah, they're really good about spreading it out, you know, and keeping that defense back and sets up the run game. You start pounding the ball, brings the line in, and it opens up the air. So, I mean, they're really good at switching it up.
We got Steve with Stanley Steemer in-house here this morning. Just covered a little bit about the Dunlap JFL, the high school program. Let's hop into the PGA Tour. So as of this morning, when you woke up, the leader down at the PGA Championship, the 100th PGA Championship down in St. Louis. If you've never been to this golf course, get down there. It's unbelievable. Have you been there?
I have not been there. It's on the list.
It's a sight to be seen. The clubhouse is amazing, as is the golf course. I know the golf course is getting a little bit of a bad rap for all the weather that St. Louis had. I know they had some rain. It softened the greens, so the players are able to attack the pins a little bit more. But Bellerive really held its own yesterday. Woodland fired a -6. That was the leader in the clubhouse last night. A lot of people were thinking 8 or 9 under would lead after the first day. So then we got Ricky Fowler, one of the fan favorites, my son's favorite golfer. He's -5. Here's some notables as we run through. Zach Johnson, -4. Then you got Poulter, Perez, Day, Sink, Gay, Dustin Johnson. Kistner. I love Kistner. He's always got, you know, a
little chaw going.
And he just looks really mad. Then you got Rose, all sitting at 3 under. Francesco Molinari, a buddy of mine's down there. I just got to see a picture of him with the cup. He works with Francesco. And he and Rahm are sitting at -2. Justin Thomas, #1 player in the world, 5 shots off the lead, as well as Fleetwood. Funny story about Fleetwood. Fleetwood grows his hair real long.
Yeah.
I always wondered why. Then they showed a picture of his father, who was bald. So he said, I'm growing this bad boy out while I can.
There you go.
It's only a matter of time. Also, with Fleetwood this past week, he won 120 pounds that was actually deposited into a Tommy Fleetwood, wrong person, into their account. I mean, how would that be, Steve? You wake up one day and you got that extra cash rolling around like,
yeah,
jackpot.
I mean, I'll definitely take that.
They obviously
not going to
got
argue on that one.
Fixed out, and Tommy Fleetwood was joking about it. You got Brooks Koepka, major champion this past year. He's sitting at -1 as well. Tiger Woods at even, Spieth +1, and Mickelson, the flop shot, is at +3. He's got to get it going, especially around Bellerive. They got the aprons cut pretty tight. That's a pretty easy short game area, so I'm surprised Phil is sitting at +3. Hey, on another note, the PGA Tour does have another event going on, and Steph Curry, may have heard of him, he actually got a sponsor's exemption into the event. Shot 1 over yesterday. He missed probably a 6-footer on 18 to keep it at level par. He's 8 off the lead down at Stonebriar Country Club. So in his post-game interview, his phone was blowing up. A lot of the guys on tour sending him well wishes, keep the game going. When I watch his swing on TV, it does look pretty sound, but I think he should stick to the court.
Hey, if you get paid to go play and have a chance to do something on the side, why not?
Why not? Why not? Let's talk a little bit about the Cubbies. I know you're not a Cubs fan. You're that Colorado Rockies. We'll touch a little bit on them. Cubs sitting 66 and 48. Unbelievable. They went on a streak last week. They won probably, I think it was 5 or so in a row. That was blended with the Padres, and I forget who else they were playing. I haven't been able to get in front of the TV that much. Let's see here. This is the second year this weekend coming up. The MLB is adopted where the players can put their nicknames on the back of the jersey. So it's always a bright, colorful weekend, and I'm always excited to see what some of the nicknames will be. Baez is El Mago.
El Mago.
Contreras is Willie the Beast. Edwards Jr., this one might take the cake for me, is String Bean Slinger. Like that. Young, wiry kid, throws ball about 96 miles an hour. Hayward, Jay Hay, and Rizzo is Tony. Zobrist is Zorilla. Just a few of the names that you can check out if you get out to watch the Cubs this weekend. Quintana, yesterday, he just got leveled 9-0 against Kansas City. He is 3-10 in his last 25 starts against the Royals. I mean, just got shelled. Doesn't help when the Cubs offense doesn't match up with when the pitchers need him to pick it up. It always seems like, to me anyways, if our pitching's going, our bats are a little sluggish. If our bats are rolling, the pitchers are struggling a little bit. So hopefully the Cubs can get that balance. That is a little bit of a concern of Madden. But Madden's holding strong. He's going to keep that rotation rolling with a bunch of lefties. Speaking of which, Darvish, he had 33 pitches in 2 innings, practice, just trying to get back to the MLB. So let's see here. He has not pitched in a regular game since May 20th, since he went on the DL. Madden says his fastball looks good, his curve and his cutter look amazing. So Madden was real optimistic after yesterday's practice. Let's talk a little bit about the power rankings that the NFL released coming into the season. Sitting at number 24, who do you think that might be?
Let's see. For the NFL, 24. So you're just
City starts with Sh and ends with Chicago. Chicago sitting at 24. I mean, the Bears, I do think, maybe middle of the road, maybe a little below average this year. I know the run game needs to get developed, take a little pressure off Trubisky in the pocket. Also, with that pressure always coming right up the middle, that O-line needs to hold a little stronger. Again, last night, Trubisky and the Bears were down 27-30 by the Cincinnati Bengals. Mayfield had his debut, 2 touchdowns, pretty solid for him, but Trubisky just 2 for 4 whopping yards, and he was sacked once. There's that pressure getting to him. Have you watched much of the Bears, paying attention to them? What's your thoughts?
I missed the game with the Bears because I was at JFL, so I
got you.
I think had to look at the highlights, but it definitely was they definitely need to work on their line.
What's your
take?
take?
It's the same problem that they had last year.
So what's your take on preseason? I know every year, as we get into the season, as we get into postseason in the NFL, a lot of injuries start coming up. It always comes back to the front of the season with the 4 preseason games and the injuries that come out of that. Just as being around football, what are your thoughts about having these players, Mayfield, millions of dollars out there, Trubisky, millions of bucks running around for a game that in essence, worthless?
See, I don't know. I look at it the opposite way. I don't think that it's a worthless game. You've got, 52 people that are fighting to make the starting squad to be out there. But you start off with, 104 or something like that going into preseason. So you've got all these guys that it's their opportunity to shine and possibly make that team, if not, get enough highlight reel to possibly get looked at in other places. So I don't necessarily look at it as it's a worthless game. Yeah, it's worthless as far as going towards your standings and other things. But
let me ask
to a lot of guys out there, it definitely means a lot.
I see that point. That's a good point. However, if you're writing the millions of dollars checks going out on payroll to Trubisky, are you starting him? What if someone rolls on his ankle last night? He's out for the season, something of that nature, maybe blows a knee. Who knows? He did get hit pretty hard. So if it were me, I would keep my money on the bench. I would let those guys vie in for those starting positions or backup roles. I would let those guys get a ton of reps, which I believe they do. I guess my point is I would never send my money players out onto that field.
See, but at the same point, though, there's so many stipulations about what they can do during practice, how many practices, how many padded practices, all that leading up to the regular season. So really, you don't want to just have your first game be the first time that those players are going full speed out on the field. They need to have some of that adjustment, going from that off season to a regular season. I think if you didn't have some of those preseason games and you had your starting players getting out on the field for the first couple of weeks, for the first time, actually going at a full pace, going against another, strong team, I think you'd actually probably see a lot more injuries.
So I got over to the Bears training camp this past week on Monday, have you ever been over there?
Nope.
Okay, everybody. It's a great experience. My uncle took me when I was a kid when Richard Dent, Dan Hampton, Harbaugh was the quarterback, and I just remember how huge these guys were. So I took my son and a few friends, Jason Bergman, over to Bourbonnais, and we got over there. The tickets are free. You get hands-on experience with some of the players. They put the kids in what they call a gauntlet, and that's where the players walk by to do autographs and maybe special meet and greets and things of that nature. Which is unbelievable. You can go over there and not spend a dime. So next year when that Bears training camp rolls around, if you want to take your kids over there, enjoy a nice day, get on that Chicago Bears website and you can get tickets for free. They did a great job. The entire Bears organization over there, from security to people just volunteering to help keep the traffic flow of people moving, was phenomenal. And it was a great experience for my boy as well as his buddies to get to shake some of the players' hands and get some autographs. He can't wait for next year. Where I'm going with this is when we were watching practice, they had pads on. It was, offense did their drills, defense did their drills, kickers, who knows what they were doing. And then all of a sudden, towards that last 45 minutes of practice, it was defense against offense. It was fast-paced. It was contact. Not maybe the contact in a game,
right,
but at least the pace of the game seemed to be there.
Right.
So how can NFL owners still justify the preseason? I understand, to get game speed.
Right.
Much different.
Right.
But can't they somewhat simulate that in a practice?
I mean, you can, but it's not the same where your buddies are playing against you versus the other team who's, in essence, trying to take your head off.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the ball. They're, doing everything they can, whereas, you're playing against, your defense. Yeah, they're still playing pretty hard against you, but it's not the same.
Yeah, there were no big pops over the middle
Right.
or anything. It was a lot of batted balls down, things of that nature, but not a ton of contact. All right, we'll agree to disagree. We might come back and bore the viewers later with that. Hey, listen, the Raiders ranked number 19 in the NFL. I don't know how they got that. They got Chucky, John Gruden, so I was reading about that this morning because I prepped for these shows about 2 hours beforehand. And old Chucky, they say, is stuck in the old offense. He's reverted back to his old ways, kind of took some of that West Coast pop out of the offense, and it's more a ground and pound.
See, the Raiders, they really confuse me. I mean, for the last couple of years with Carr back there, they've got a really good defense. And I don't know if it's just that old mentality and they're stuck in that way, but they have the talent to be progressing and being a better team, after their 20-year stint where they kind of fell off the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm a diehard Raider hater, but they have the talent. They should be a better team than what they are. Every year, everybody has these high expectations for them, and then they drop off, midway through the season. It's kind of like the Chiefs. The Chiefs have that talent too, and they get past the halfway mark and they fall off. So I don't know if it's, some of that number 19 spot is because, Khalil Mack is holding out, and it's putting some edges as far as when he's actually going to come back. I think that they're going to be a better team this year than they have been the last couple of years.
I agree. I think Carr's back fully healthy.
Yep.
Shoulder, no issues. They picked up Jordy Nelson across the middle. Just a weapon for Carr to unload on. And then they picked up, now I know he's a little bit older, but Doug Martin, running back, he's got proven success. He can ground and pound it, and he can get out to the edges. And his speed, he's got breakaway speed. So I'm interested on how the Raiders do. That's one of those teams I'll be paying attention to. I feel like they're more of maybe a top 12, maybe 11 or 12. But what do I know? Hey, Carolina, here's top 10. Carolina's sitting at 10. You got Green Bay sitting at 9. They picked up Jimmy Graham, tight end. I mean, Rodgers and him. Think of the fantasy points, exchanging hands on that duo right there. We got Atlanta sitting at 8. Sitting at 7th is Pittsburgh. They picked up safety Morgan Burnett. I think that's a huge pickup. I just wonder with Roethlisberger, I think Roethlisberger either has 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions or 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's not hot. He's either hot or cold, in my opinion. I don't know how far Pittsburgh will go. Jacksonville's up to the 6th spot, followed leading New Orleans with 5. Coming in at 4th is the Rams. New England is projected as number 3.
Surprise.
What do you have for number 1?
I mean, the Eagles are going to look good coming back this year again.
Yep, there you go.
So they're a difficult one to sway against.
Did you write this blog? Because the Eagles are sitting at number 1. Their power defense with spread offense and Wentz coming back.
Yeah,
look out.
They're going to be a rough one to go against.
And then we got Minnesota coming in at 2nd. Minnesota in the Central. I mean, the Bears will probably finish last. I envision, seriously, like Minnesota, Packers, Detroit Bears.
See, I don't know. I think Green Bay is going to be an interesting to watch too because Jordy Nelson was the go-to guy for so long. You got rid of him. granted, it is, Aaron Rodgers, but who's going to take up that slack that Jordy?
I don't know. I think Graham will come in. I think he'll make his presence felt running those hash marks.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Minnesota, though, with Cousins, the NFC Championship game, I mean, Cousins is a stud. I believe in him. Now, it'll be interesting to watch how he's gelled with the team, to see how on the same page they are, seamless transition from quarterback to quarterback.
Right.
Minnesota's the real deal. I think they are just a super physical team. And you pair that up against the Eagles, who had a great defense last year, made a couple moves during the offseason, pick up some more defensive players. Man, Eagles are going to be tough to put up more than 17 points on. So we'll see how that plays out. Our NCAA football rankings coming out. I'm super excited. I get to go over September 1st to watch Michigan and Notre Dame. Brian and Brad and Jeff Bach and all you other Michigan fans out there, if you want to bet me a coffee or something, lunch, just hit me up on the dial. Be happy to put that out there. Michigan is a 2-point favorite as we sit today, playing over in Notre Dame on September 1st. Number 10, Penn State. I don't know what do they run, that double or triple run offense that
it's weird.
It's hard to read them. You got Notre Dame sitting at 9. Now listen, everybody, I'll pump my brakes a little bit. I'm a huge Irish fan. Bunch of Catholics out there. I think we're overrated. It happens every year. I wouldn't be surprised if we took an L to Michigan. Now we got a pretty soft schedule after Michigan to get ourselves back in a standing. But I do think Notre Dame is a little overrated, coming in at 9. Number 8, you got Auburn. 7, you have Washington Huskies. That's another triple run offense. They're just quirky as well on how to guard them. You got Wisconsin representing the Big Ten at 6. Oklahoma sitting at 5. Good Lord, there's been a ton of spotlight shined on Ohio State, who is currently sitting at 4th right now. I don't even want to touch that. Georgia at 3. Georgia, again, last year, they're always like that sleeping dog.
Yep.
Kind of overlooked. All of a sudden, they come out and they can make some noise.
Yep, they kind of, like you said, they sleep partway through the season, kind of slide under the radar, and then that backside of the season, they just start marching their way up the rankings.
Go back and look at Georgia's year last year. I followed them pretty close. They won a ton of games, but by 7 or 10 points. They really didn't blow out a ton of opponents. They had a handle on the game the entire way for the most part until they got to that postseason. But, again, I think you'll see Georgia in that playoff position at the end of the season. You got Clemson sitting at number 2 right now and Bama as the projected number 1. I think Clemson will end up closing out the season with the championship myself. What's his name, Dabo?
Dabo.
Man, that guy's got a ton of energy. Someone needs to give him a chill pill. But he's really building that program, and I think Bama's got a little competition now when it comes to signing days, and, Georgia's there. You got other teams starting to get in the mix other than just Bama, in my own opinion.
Right.
Which, I don't know. Are you a Nick Saban fan?
Not really. I'm kind of over the whole Bama phase. I don't think it's going anywhere, so I don't think you really call it a phase anymore. But
other than he drafts half his team directly into the NFL.
Right, yeah. But they're always there, though. So
They are.
I heard
a story. There was a gentleman. He signed with Bama. He sat the bench 2 years. Came time for him to play. This is how deep Bama is. Came time for his turn to play. He went first round in the draft. I would have to look that gentleman's name up. But he was patient. He got his opportunity, dominated the spot, went on to the NFL. That tells you how good those other two were right in front of him. So Bama, I think that program's just stacked for a couple more years. But I think the more Clemson can get involved and get Dabo on TV and start blowing out some of their opponents, Clemson's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they are fun. They're not the Bama ground and pound and, hold the ball and just beat the ever-living snot out of you. Yeah. They're more of a get the ball going, fast-paced offense. So, like you said, it's a lot more exciting to watch.
I am just so excited to watch some college football.
Right.
We've got NFL starting up. I mean,
there's that time of the year.
No weekend between now and the start of the season. We got football on all the time. Boy, is my wife excited about that. And I have the PGA Championship record. I'm watching that at night. I'm just trying to get caught up on all my sports. We have my good friend Steve Miner in here with Stanley Steemer. Steve, Get these Rugrats back to school. Get them out of the house. They tore the house up all summer. You got a couple specials, 2 rooms for like $99.
Yep. Or you can get us in there. We can do 2 areas in a hall for $119, or we can do 3 areas for $129. No matter what it is, we've got some sort of special that if you give us a call, we can put you into it, save you some money, and get your house looking nice and pretty again.
How do you guys keep up with all the demand? We got a few minutes here. Let's talk about Stanley Steemer. I see your trucks everywhere.
Yep.
I see you guys doing all sorts of things. Have you had many floods lately?
This season's been really weird. I've talked with a lot of different insurance people, and it hasn't been the normal, sewer and sump pump backups. It's been toilet supply lines or sinks or dishwashers, things of that nature, which is usually not what you typically see. Usually, like I said, you see broken pipes and frozen pipes and sewer backups and things of that nature. So it's been a different season for water damages, but they've definitely been, pretty pronounced this year. But then, we do carry quite a bit of crews to the point where, we like to try to pride ourselves that if you call in and you want something cleaned, we try to get it done that day, if not the next day, if that fits into your availability. So
solid. Yeah, I see your trucks going everywhere. You guys are active. Then when the trucks are parked, you guys are coaching JFL, really involved with the community. Let me shake your hand, speaking of which.
Thank you.
You guys were proud donors, sponsors of the Grayson Kelch Front 9 Foundation 12th annual golf event, and you were on the winning team.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. Nice conditions, wasn't too hot. It was beautiful.
Played out at Coyote Creek out there in Bartonville.
Yep.
My buddy John Kohler, the pro, Mike Maxheimer, who owns the place, has really invested some money into it. The course was flawless.
Oh, it was beautiful that day.
Firm, greens were awesome. I mean, just Coyotes really turned things around the last couple of years. So hats off to Mike and John and the entire staff out at Coyote Creek. They treated us great, and the course was phenomenal. That event that the Front 9 Foundation puts on out there the past 2 years has sold out before we ever had to market. And I attribute that to the staff out there and that great golf course. If you're looking for a good golf course to play over the weekend, hop out there to Coyote. Tee it up.
It's definitely one of my favorites in the greater Peoria area, that's for sure.
I think they did a real nice job. They cleaned out some trees, made it much more playable, much more friendly to the average golfer. So, yeah, if you have yet to get out to Coyote Creek, tee it up, get out there. Hey, Steve, appreciate it. And you know what? You guys were kind. You donated everything you won back to the foundation. So can't thank you, Mark Hoagland, Stanley Steemer, enough. My name is Doug Pinter on Daily Energy. My buddy Steve from Stanley Steemer. You guys have a good weekend.
See you later.